and stay woke, because this is the Ball Hog Sports Talk with your boy, B. Brown, ESQ, a.k.a. the Ball Hog, a.k.a. the Mouth of the South. This is the place where sports, business, and entertainment collide. And we're going to give it to you rough, rugged, and raw, so come get you a spoonful, like some grits with butter. All right, y'all. Y'all know what it is. It's the Ball Hog Sports Talk. I get excited. I don't know why my doggone thing keeps turning off my theme music, but that is what it is. That's how you know it's real live show. This is the Ball Hog Sports Talk with your boy, B. Brown, ESQ, a.k.a. the Ball Hog, a.k.a. the Mouth of the South, a.k.a. Mr. Excessive Celebration. We got a great week planned for you guys. Let's have a good time. You know what it is. It's the Ball Hog Sports Talk where sports, business, and entertainment collide. We got the normal crew coming with Three and a Possible. I got Big Flo as a guest coming a little later on. Not even as a guest. He's a family member at this point. Let's call it. It's going to be a great show. Now, if you're in New Jersey, New York, on the East Coast, you have spent the last 3 days digging yourself out of the snow. It makes me question why the heck I live here. But we are going to warm your minds, warm your souls, warm up your energy with the Ball Hog Sports Talk today. And today's episode, we had to do it. We've got to do it this week. I know that people feel a certain way about those 3 letters, the N, the F, and the L. When you put them together, they make you feel a certain way. But lo and behold, the sports world, and I say world globally, is paying attention to a particular event this week. So today's episode, it celebrates and acknowledges that particular event, and it goes in a different direction because you know at the Ball Hog Sports Talk, we can't just be simple. We got a little twist to it. Today's episode is called The Big Game Theory, and we're going to have a good time with that one, y'all. So strap on your seatbelt. Make sure you got your cup of coffee. And look, since you are virtual learning, your kids are virtual learning, it doesn't necessarily have to be a coffee. It could be something a little stronger, but here we come with the Ball Hog Sports Talk. Today's episode, Big Game Theory. All right, so to start off, y'all, we are going to bring in the normal crew. You know how we do it. This segment, the first quarter, is going to be Three and a Possible, where the Three and a Possible is myself, the MC. The maestro himself, superhero DJ John Quick, will be in the building. And the Maverick, you know who she is. She needs no introduction. Miss Majestic Maya. Let's get it started, y'all. Three and a Possible. What's up?
What up?
What's up? Good morning, y'all. I know that the snow has been crazy. We've all had to deal with the snow, but that's why the audience, the Ball Hog Sports Talk audience, and like we ask you guys every week, humbly, we ask you at the outset, please like, please comment, please share, please tag a friend, please tag a foe, tag anybody that you know, because the Ball Hog Sports Talk is about to deliver a little heat to you. How about that in this winter storm? Y'all made it out okay, y'all. Everybody's good?
Straight.
All right, cool. Absolutely. All right, cool. All right, so let's go ahead and melt this snow with some heat, y'all. Three and a Possible, you know what it is, like a good spades hand. We got Three and a Possible. We're going to go without the possible today. There will be no missing link. So they're going to hear it from the maestro. They're going to hear it from the Maverick. They're going to hear it from the MC, and we're going to dive right in. This particular segment it's just a family day at the spades table. Hop in, get in where you fit in, and let's go with a few topics. The first topic, DK Metcalf, who everybody knows for running down the defensive back after an interception, literally ran him down the entire field, the length of the field. Everybody knows him for being shredded. The dude got muscles on top of muscles. He got 0% body fat. Just a very, very well put together young man, a receiver that is taking over the NFL. But he's not just done with the fans at the entertainment level. He is now educating the fans. He is sending, during Black History Month, one tweet per day that is educating fans on the Emmett Till situation, the tragedy that was from a historical perspective. DK Metcalf is in the building, not only an amazing wide receiver, but also a Black History Month teacher now. What did y'all think about it, man? Great story. DK Metcalf in the building.
I'm here for it. I think a lot of people don't know about Emmett Till, and that's actually incredibly sad. Like, you know, every rap lyric, you know about Little Uzi, all these little stupid ass rappers, but you know,
His last name is Vert, not Tech.
whatever, and Kodak Black and all these little mumble.
Don't mess with Kodak now. He's South Florida kid now. That's sacred. He's from Lauderdale now.
You need to know history and how that was literally the catalyst of the civil rights movement.
Absolutely.
That's what we need to know. We need to know that the 12-year-old boy was mutilated and murdered.
Absolutely.
It was assumed that he whistled at a white woman. Her name is Carolyn Bryant. Look her up online. She's a scumbucket. However, that was not the case. And a lot of people don't know about his story. And I think that everyone should know, not just Black people, but the world as a whole, because what happened to that young man should never happen to anyone.
Agreed. Superhero DJ John Quick, what do you think about it, man? DJ Metcalf in the building. DK Metcalf, rather. I got my DJ and my DK mixed up there. Sorry, DK Metcalf. What do you think about Superhero DJ John Quick?
I think it's refreshing. I'm glad that it's a young kid like DK Metcalf, because, you know, you got these cats like Sis had mentioned before, Little Uzi Vert. He running around putting a damn diamond in the middle of his head like he Vision from the Avengers. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, you got a brother like this who's representing correctly and who's educating his younger fans, whatever, because, you know, he's one of the more popular players in the NFL at this point right now.
He is, absolutely.
So I think it's a beautiful thing, man. I'm very proud of him, and he's definitely repping. I know his parents got to be proud. He comes from a football lineage. Like Terry Metcalf was a beast. Don't get it twisted. Number 21 for the Cardinals. I think that's his nephew. His nephew.
Yeah,
yes,
I know the Metcalf name is big in football lore, as you said, Superhero DJ John Quick, but it's so good to see that he is taking it upon himself, because fans want to hear tweets about what's going on, the salacious stories in the locker room, or baby mama drama. This brother is going above and beyond and doing a service to the American population. So learn about Emmett Till, and you were right. The Maverick herself, Miss Majestic Maya, it should have never happened, but with information, we can prevent it from happening again. It's not enough to just be not racist. We got to be anti-racist. And hearing that story, seeing the fact that he had a closed casket because his face was mutilated will help us all become a little more anti-racist.
No, Bob, it wasn't a closed casket. Matter of fact, the mother said that she wanted America to see what these clowns had done to her son.
Absolutely.
These evil, nasty individuals had done to her son. So it wasn't closed, actually.
Absolutely. I made that mistake. So I could learn a little from DK Metcalf. The closed casket concept, you're right. She said that would protect America from its ugly sin of racism. And she wanted everyone to see it and put it on full display. So let's make sure it doesn't happen again. DK Metcalf is doing his part. Next story, Serena Williams and Naomi Osaka. They are talk about big game. These sisters are so bad, and Superhero DJ John Quick and I have made our interest very known about both of them. So yes. I'll skip past that part because I know Serena married. I ain't trying to make nobody uncomfortable, break up nobody's marriage, right? And so we're gonna keep it moving. But these sisters made an exhibition game. Big news. They turned it into a big game. Serena Williams was able to beat Naomi Osaka. So if you count that, it's exhibition where it doesn't technically count. But if you count that, they are at 2-2 as a series. An exhibition taking on worldwide interest because these two absolute superstar human beings were playing in it. Love seeing these sisters in an exhibition match to dust off the rust a little bit because they've all been in quarantine. But in dusting off the rust, they made global news with an exhibition match. And iron absolutely sharpens irons. Love to see these sisters doing this in the exhibition.
Yeah, Serena's my generation. Naomi, I power to my people, but I'm riding with Serena until she can't ride no more. She's just so endearing to me, and she's just bomb. Like, great person, great tennis player, like. She's like one of the best athletes, I think, walking in the face of the planet. Like
Ever, all time.
Yes.
Ever.
I put her in the category of like a Jim Brown. Like, I just think she is so phenomenal.
Absolutely.
Serena, that's my girl.
The fact that she's putting her arm around Naomi Osaka and taking on this, I don't want to call it big sister, little sister, but there is a sort of a big sister, little sister relationship there. There was a lot made about after one of the Grand Slam titles where Naomi Osaka won, that people accused Serena of taking the spotlight. This is the exact opposite. She's sharing the spotlight, and it's good to see. I'll let you get final word on Superhero DJ John quick, and we'll move in a different direction.
Yeah, this is MJ taking Kobe under the arm. That's exactly what this is. And Naomi is the future of tennis, and Serena is the GOAT. You know, and when I say the GOAT, she's like one of the greatest athletes of all time, not just a tennis player. And you know, she's pretty much done everything right. Her only little blip was she went off on that ref when they played, when her and Naomi played in US Open. She went off she went a little too off. And I love Serena, but other than that, she's good money.
Come on, man. We all know.
And not just for her physical attributes. She's a hell of an athlete.
Yes, she is a hell of an athlete, and her physical attributes are a hell of attributes.
Yes.
And but we've all seen a sister get fit and tired. She was fit and tired in that with that referee, and she went
off. I thought she was gonna put her hands on him.
Straight up. So this whole idea about the big game in today's episode, big game theory, the concept of the big game. We've all had that big moment, right? And so superhero DJ John Quick, you've had that big event that you had to play. Miss Majestic Maya, you've had that big meeting that you had to crush. We've all had this big moment, but some people might be too nonchalant with the big moment. And to give you an example, Kendrick Perkins out here acting like he on First 48. He's snitching, y'all. Kendrick Perkins out here snitching. He told on James Harden and said when they played at OKC, Kendrick Perkins was on the team. That was a different big three because you had Russ Wilson, you had KD, and you had a very young James Harden. James Harden came up missing when they played in the finals against Miami, and Kendrick Perkins said that he was up in the King of Diamonds. King of Diamonds strikes again. This is three and a possible. This is three and a possible, so you know it's like a good spades hand. The King of Diamonds strikes again. King of Diamonds, this other King of Diamonds down in Miami, Kendrick Perkins alleges, because we haven't confirmed it. So allegedly, you know, my man Harden spent a lot of time in King of Diamonds and couldn't make a shot. And Kendrick Perkins telling y'all, what did y'all think about the story? And is that just going too nonchalant? It's a big game. It's the world championship. You've got 4 games to win, and he up in there making it rain and eating chicken wings. What y'all think?
First off, I have to raise my hand. I know about the KOD. I'm going to talk about that offline. However, Kendrick Perkins, why are you talking about this years later? Shut up. Why are you spilling the beans? Like, did someone put a gun to your head and say, we're going to kill you unless you spill this gossip? Like, that is the lamest move ever. Keep your mouth shut. You shut up.
And he was the only one not smoking because he was on the Up and Smoke podcast and he talked about how he stopped smoking, but he was revealing the goods like he was on some drug or something. He gave up all the goods, just telling on that man like that.
And in addition to that, I'm sorry, John, how people get prepared to go into big meetings or events or whatever, that's up to them. Some people like to listen to music. Some people meditate. Some people have green recreational items in front of them. I mean, whatever gets you in the mood to do your thing, to perform to that level, do it. And stop snitching. Shut your mouth.
I got to figure out where, so you just told on yourself, Anthony Denman. I was about to say, I got to figure out where Perkins is from. Denman, you gave it up. He said Kendrick Perkins is misrepresenting Texas. Yeah, they say everything is bigger in Texas, including the snitches, because Kendrick Perkins is a big old snitch. Snitching on that man. Superhero DJ John Quick, ain't anything sacred anymore. If we teammates and I spent my time, luxury, relaxed time, in places like that, I shouldn't be hearing about it 9 years later on somebody's podcast. What's up with that?
He's disgusting. He's nothing but a sellout goon. That's what he is. That's whack. Like, how you gonna tell on this man like literally 9 years later after the fact? Like, and then pretty much just blame him for, man, he needs to have a seat, man. You know what it is, man? You know, everybody's trying to scratch and claw their way in this radio industry, man. This is his, you know, he's playing himself. Like,
Playing himself.
Really, dude? Like, you lost so much respect from just doing that, man. Like, wow. Like, the locker room is supposed to be sacred. And he just crushed all of that, man. He's whack.
Broke the code, but I'll say this because you point out two very important things. You say that we're all trying to fight and scratch and claw to make our way in this radio world. So I take that opportunity to remind everybody to please like, please comment, please share, because we are trying to do the same thing. But then you talk about the snitches, right? I want y'all to snitch on us. Let everybody know we got a good content here, man. Tell everybody. There's good snitching and there's bad snitching. Don't do that Kendrick Perkins snitching.
Oh,
do the good snitching. Tell your friend, y'all. We about to make it happen. All right, other partiers. You know, one of the nicknames is Mr. Excessive Celebration. Superhero DJ John Quick and I, the maestro, we rocked out before. I believe in excessive celebrations, but I'm wondering if it's too excessive. My man Neymar from Brazil, he basically said, I'm never going to stop partying, and I'm not immature. He just turned 29 today. Happy birthday, Neymar. Shout out to the soccer world. We giving out shout outs in soccer today, y'all. I'm telling you, baby, we well versed in the sports thing. Neymar turned 29 today, but he said he's not partying and he's never going to stop partying and he's not immature. I like Neymar's taking a stance for the party scene because superhero DJ John Quick, you know how it is. It ain't a party unless you got people in it. You could have the best set known to mankind if no one was there to hear it. If a tree falls in the woods, no one's there to hear it, right? So good for Neymar. Neymar coming to the party. He coming to the excessive celebration, superhero DJ John Quick event. What do you think about him making all this money and saying he gonna party till his doggone feet fall off if he wants to?
He can keep his COVID cootie ass wherever the hell he partying at. Yo, he's not immature. He's just stupid. There's the word for that. Stupid.
That's stupid.
And trust me, bro, that damn COVID, it don't matter how much money you make, bro. Like at some point, you stay with that attitude and see if they don't find you getting fitted for a ventilator. Trust.
I like my doctor Rashawn Adams says they don't say much about Gronk's partying. What do y'all think? Because Gronk, not only is Gronk a partier, Gronk bragged this week about having duped the Tampa Bay administration, the coaching staff, because they said he needed to send workouts every day. So he would do a few workouts in the same day and just change shirts. But he bragged about it. He was self-snitching. Self-snitching is okay. He snitched on himself and said, basically, I had got y'all. Psych. Y'all thought I was working out every day. But he also, Gronk is known for, after losing a Super Bowl, partying, going to an all-out rave, because that's how he deals with it. Gronk does seem to get the pass as the party guy. He's never been to an excessive celebration, but he does get the pass. Is it just different strokes for different folks? Because people look at it as Gronk being Gronk is sort of a frat boy concept. They don't put as much disdain on his name as a partier as they do, say, a James Harden going to KODs. I'll give you final word on it, Maya, and then we'll move on.
Two things. One, the most offensive thing about Gronk is his rhythmless dancing. Like, who wants to, he big, awkward, and can't dance. That shit's offensive. That's the main thing. And secondly, COVID. I don't understand why people can't get that through their thick skulls.
COVID real out here, y'all. This thing is serious. So I want to tell a joke about Gronk, but I'll take the opportunity to say, hey, y'all, let's take this thing serious because there's still people dying. And the fact that you have to bury a loved one essentially in a virtual setting because you can't go to funerals still, it's just sad. So let's make sure that we take this thing serious. And other news, serious news, we'll take a very brief moment of silence because we lost another great one. Seems like every week we're taking these moments of silence, which again only emphasizes the point even deeper that COVID is real. But this week we lost John Chaney. He died at 89. John Chaney with the infamous look, the scowl, the very powerful coaching strategies that he had and how he influenced specifically young black men, but also off the court, how he was unapologetic in speaking up for how the system he felt mistreated and exploited Black athletes. He talked about it. He's also known. Eddie Jones was one of his best players. Eddie Jones from Broward County. You know, I'm always shouting out Broward County. But you know, Eddie Jones and Aaron McKee were both Prop 48 players. But you know, John Chaney was, I think, I know was much more than just a coach. He was a legend and one of the people in the Black community that represented us well. So if you guys will indulge us, please, very brief, let's take a moment of silence on behalf of the late, great coach, John Chaney. It does bring it home that life is not, tomorrow's not guaranteed, y'all. Life is precious. So it's not one of those things you can just take for granted. So please, 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 please wear your mask and take this thing seriously. Another good health story is the Washington football team. Ron Rivera has now the doctors have deemed him cancer-free. So he wanted to thank the fans, thank the supporters. And he's one of the handful of men of color. He's not Black, but he is a diverse candidate, head coaching candidate. So shout out to Ron Rivera, cancer-free. Prayers lifted for you, my brother. I want to make a Washington football team joke, but I'm going to leave it there and on good vibes that we're going to continue to pray for you that you remain cancer-free. The other story when it comes to health that we got to discuss is this new proliferation of athletes taking their mental health seriously. And the two latest examples is the Minnesota Twins shortstop, Mr. Simmons. And Drelton Simmons is I think should be the poster child of being able to speak up and speak out on behalf of mental health. He not only is a 4-time Golden Glove winner, he just signed a 1-year deal for $10.5 million. And yet all of those things that should seem to suggest life is perfect didn't prevent him from having mental health issues. He decided to opt out of the bubble. He said COVID and all the death around it was weighing on him, and he decided to take a step away from the game. And he was unapologetic about saying it wasn't until he got therapy with his mental health issues that he thought about suicide at one point, and he was facing real depression. A guy who on paper, on the face of it, seems like he's got everything in the world at his fingertips, still dealing with mental health issues and being willing to be vulnerable and publicize it, going public with it. I don't know if you guys had an opinion one way or another, but I love seeing it. Obviously, you hate to see someone dealing with depression and to have true suicidal thoughts, which he detailed, but I'm happy that he was so vulnerable and shared it with the world.
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of discussing mental health, because if your mind's not right, nothing else is going to be right.
Amen.
I think a lot of people downplay the pandemic and quarantine and things of that nature. I could totally relate to how he felt. I mean, I don't have a $10 million paycheck.
Yeah. You got to put in there.
Right.
Manifest it.
However, I know what it's like to deal with bouts of depression, being alone, and having to deal with that by yourself. So for him to say it and remove the stigma that's attached to it, kudos to him. Hell, I'll buy a Minnesota Twins jersey just because he said something about it.
Love it, and absolutely love it. Not only did he do it, Brittany Griner also decided she opted out of the bubble, and she talked about her issues with mental health. And again, you would think as the number 1 draft pick in the WNBA, a national champion at the collegiate level, playing overseas and being she decided to opt out when she was leading the Mercury in both points, I think around like 17.5 points a game, and rebounds, close to 8 rebounds a game. And during the height of those statistical performances, she acknowledged that she needed to step away. I'll let you get final word on the superhero DJ John quick. That's a mouthful. But she is, I think, also a poster child of trying to remove that stigma that the Black community specifically has had around mental health and seeking counseling. And I think she needs to be celebrated for it. What do you say?
Yeah. Especially the Black athletes who step out. Because, it's funny, white folks, they actually brag about having therapists. They have no shame, and they shouldn't have any shame because, as someone who worked in the mental health area for like I would say almost 20 years, I could tell you that, the Black community has always had the attitude of, oh, all that boy needed some belt, or, you got to suck it up and things of that nature. We're never allowed to deal with our mental health. And the thing with mental health is just like physical health. Is all mental health issues all stem from chemical imbalances within the brain, which is literally a physical issue. Like if you break your arm, you're not going to just sit around the house like, oh, it'll get better on its own. No, you're going to go to the doctor and have it dealt with. Same thing with mental health. You can't just sit around and think it's just going to get better. It's more than likely it's going to get worse. So I encourage everyone out there, if you have any issues, or you're just not feeling like yourself, speak to a professional. There's no shame in it. And to be honest, being proactive is definitely the move, because again, with mental health, it can also lead to physical issues. That's been scientifically proven. So that's what I would say on that. So kudos to those athletes.
Kudos to them. And I would argue that you're still in the mental health industry, because you be playing them smooth vibes at the party, superhero DJ John Quick is the maestro. You be taking me places mentally. But I do. I'm glad we are celebrating.
That's my cocktail, the pajama set.
There you go. You take me somewhere mentally, baby. But I'm glad that these athletes are indeed taking up this fight, because it is a fight, not only to get over the issues relative to your own personal mental health, but the stigma. It has been looked at as taboo to acknowledge that you need some therapists or some counseling in the Black community. So shout out to these athletes, because that is what the platform is about, utilizing it for good. So shout out to them. All right, y'all. You know what it is. We get into the second quarter, we're going to transition. And this will be the traffic court segment, where we're going to bring on another juror. Our man, who needs no introduction, he's a part of the family, Big Flo from the Big Flo Show, joined the stage.
What's good, America?
What's up, man? I love how you say good. What's good, America, to the whole America. We in the building, y'all. You know what it is? It's traffic court. We're going to go around quickly, and then at the end, the judge gets to decide whether or not it's reasonable or excessive. But I'm listening to all of the evidence that you present. I'm listening to your arguments. I know it's going to be persuasive, but we got the judge, myself, B. Brown, ESQ. We got the jury. That's Big Flo from the Big Flo Show, and the maestro, superhero DJ John Quick. And then you know who the executioner is. She needs no introduction. She is the executioner, the Maverick, Miss Majestic Maya. We're going to start off right where we left off, maybe, because it seems like a topic that always comes up. LBJ, Lebronis, Braun, the man, the myth, the legend. Some might call him the GOAT. Well, if he is the GOAT, we also have to deal with these other stories. And one of the other stories is the self-proclaimed king, as some have called him, the GOAT, as others have called him, Lebronis, Mr. LA, had to deal with hecklers in Atlanta. And it is taking on a story of its own. I want to know, I know you guys have heard the story. It was the 56-year-old, well-tanned, some might claim steroid using, his 25-year-old young trophy wife who took up for him versus LeBron. And there was some words exchanged. They went back and forth. These courtside seats, Atlanta's one of the few teams that allows people into the arena, but these courtside seats were officially yanked from them as they were escorted from the court. Do you think it's too much? We've had Drake and 2 Chainz, and everyone's weighed in. We've heard people go back and forth on it. It's been talked about ad nauseum. Is this reasonable or excessive to have LeBron and these hecklers dueling it? I'll start with you, Big Flo from the Big Flo Show. What do you think?
I get tired of hearing about these fans, and they can just say what they want and do what they want. You're a human being out there playing, especially in basketball, because the fans are right on top of you, right? So in some of the sports of football, they're a little bit further away. It's kind of easier to ignore, but you're taking the ball out of bounds, or you're flying out of bounds. You see these people. Who knows what they're saying to you? I just think they should show some class. People think they paid a little bit of money to be in the front row. They can just go and clown people all they want. I'm not a big fan of it. So, yeah, throw them out of there. Get them out the game.
All right. On to you, Maestro. What do you say?
Basically, they were the Joker and Harley Quinn. It's. I mean, shut up and just watch the game. How about that? Like, you're not paid to be the entertainment. Let these ball players do what they do. They're the entertainment that you paid to see. So shut the hell up. That's what I think.
Miss Majestic Maya the Maverick, what do you think? You got the executioner one. What you gonna do with it?
Well, there's two parts of it. It's reasonable to keep their little over-tanned, lobster-looking ass locked out forever. And secondly, you know what's excessive? His tan and her plastic surgery. Ain't no way that girl's 25. She's kicking 50 in the balls. Ain't no way she's 25.
Well, I guess the executioner executed. I would say this when it comes to the case of LeBron and whether or not it was excessive or reasonable to kick this couple. I almost said something else, mess with you, Majestic Mind, to kick this couple out of the game. I would say it was reasonable to kick him out of that game, but I would then go one step further and say to ban them for life is a bit excessive because LeBron is a big boy. He's been hearing, you know how long people have been heckling him? He's been that dude since he was 16 years old. So LeBron even said that he thought that they didn't necessarily need to get ejected. He's equipped. I love the fact that technology is the MVP again, because initially she claimed that LeBron called her a B. And the microphones that are everywhere, the cameras that are everywhere picked up the exchange, and there was no B word uttered, because I know that the feminist movement,
that's people, Karen moment right there.
That's right. They was waiting.
That's what they called her, courtside Karen. And so I'm glad that the technology in the arena vindicated him from the use of that word, but I think it's excessive to ban them for life. So I'm gonna call that.
Ban her. She tried to lie. She tried to lie, my man. You know, think about it, man. What if there weren't any, or microphones? You know, the feminist groups would have came straight after him over a lie. She needed to ban crooked looking self.
Wait, and two things. LeBron has been living rent free in her sugar daddy's head, because he posted some other reckless stuff back in 2007 talking about how much he hated LeBron. And then on top of that, I mentioned this pig at the top of the show, Carolyn Bryant. This is the stuff that white women do to get black men in trouble.
Yep.
I say this,
exactly.
You know, I don't know why another grown man thinks that much about LeBron. We talk about it on the show because he is a sports, business, and entertainment topic. But you can rest assured, when I go to bed at night, LeBron is not on my mind. It seems like this particular dude had
exactly. It's weird, bro.
Need more rest. Need more rest. Take vitamins.
All right. So another story about trash talking in the NBA, right? This time is not from the fans. Klay Thompson had a microphone as a color commentator. I don't know why they let Klay Thompson call games with his teammates playing. He should not call Golden State games, but yet someone gives him a mic, and lo and behold, the inevitable happened. He took the side of his teammates, which from a locker room perspective, the guy code, the player code, you're going to do that. And he might have went a little far. He said Rodney McGruder essentially was about 30 seconds from being out of the league. Rodney McGruder tried to be a tough guy. Klay Thompson took issue with it and said, you're about 30 seconds from being out of the league. My man Draymond Green doubled down on it and said, you know, so who died and made this dude the tough guy of the Pistons? So just like the NBA stories always do, they went from just that exchange where Klay Thompson was probably a bit out of bounds and saying that on a live coverage of the game. And then Draymond Green said what he said, and then it just took a whole turn in the wrong direction. You had Wayne Ellington speak up for his teammate. You had then KD like a comment or like a post of Wayne Ellington. Then you had Big Baby Davis. Why in the world am I talking about Big Baby Davis? Because he interjected himself in this story. The NBA is becoming the WWE when it comes to some of these conversations. But what did y'all think? Was Klay Thompson out of bounds? Was Big Baby Davis out of bounds, saying that's why you always hurt? Because statements like that, it's karma. What did you think about this back and forth? I'll start with you, Miss Majestic Maya the Maverick.
Oh my God. First and foremost, Klay Thompson, like, I can't take no man that tall and that light seriously. He is like glass. John, I'm serious. You cannot take him seriously. He looks like a woman, but that's besides the point. And Big Baby Davis, I'm like, why are we? like he hasn't been relevant since ever. The only reason why we knew about him was one, he was overweight, and two, he went to the Celtics. I mean, he has made no imprint in the NBA. When you open up the history of the NBA, you will not find the picture of him. He won't even get a footnote mention.
No.
This is so like they're just trying to conjure up some sort of rah-rah so people could watch the game. I'm not watching this. Whatever.
What do you think, superhero DJ John Quick? Is this reasonable or excessive? This whole conversation, this back and forth, it looks a lot like wrestling, man. But indeed, they ain't acting.
Listen, and you know what? Wrestling is one of the top, rated entertainment / sports shows in America. So I'm here for all the trash talk. Come on, Bob, you play basketball on the course, man. Please, this is light work. You know what I'm saying? It's light work in terms of what they're saying. And the fact of the matter is, yeah, it's funny. He said Rodney McGruder was 30 seconds from being out of the league, and then Wayne Ellington chimed in. They both in that category. So it's like, and I like both of them. They both used to play for the Heat. So, but it is what it is. I mean, he wasn't lying.
He wasn't lying.
So it is, I love the trash talk. It's fun. It's all fun. As long as they don't go the rapper route. You know what I mean? So it's all good.
It looks like it's getting dangerously close to that. Big Flo, what do you think about this back and forth?
I think Quick has a point because I had never heard of either of those dudes before this came up. But I'm going to say that it's both. It's excessive. I think Klay Thompson that's excessive. It's unprofessional to be on the mic and to go there. They brought you to be an announcer, and you kind of act like you're still on the court. I think he needs to be able to hold back. First of all, nothing crazy was happening. He should be able to hold back. I think it's reasonable for some people to come back out there in his defense and try to clown him. Big Baby Davis, first of all, shout out to fat people that can hoop. So I'm not going to sit there and clown him the way Maya is. So he went out there and he can hoop and Big Baby. So I like him already. But I think, he kind of resembled that. He's like, man, you're in the league, you're struggling to get there. It's one thing to talk trash on the court, but you clown me, on TV, and you're saying, oh, you're about the league. This is this dude's profession. You're trying to clown him like that. So I think those responses to Klay were reasonable. I think he was excessive. Yeah. Shout out to fat people.
In the case of this big old drama, the saga that has now become a soap opera of sorts, an NBA soap opera, I'm going to say that the response is excessive. And I say why. Yes, I agree with superhero DJ John Quick. Talking trash is just that, talking trash. Klay Thompson, was he a bit unprofessional? Yes, but that's what talking trash is. The definition of talking trash.
Exactly.
That Wayne Ellington and even now KD liking that post and calling it unprofessional. Like, get over yourselves, man. Y'all playing a game that we've been talking trash while we played it since we were old enough to play it. Yep. Klay Thompson was just talking trash. He didn't give himself the mic. Whoever gave him that platform is their fault. I think it's excessive. So, but I do like all y'all points. All right, y'all, let's move to the next one. We're going to go now to a story that I think y'all going to love, man. And I think you're going to love it because I get to say these famous words. I told you so. I told y'all that LaMelo Ball was acting real Magic Johnson-ish. He's Magic-ish. And y'all look at me like I was crazy, like it was sacrilegious for me to then say that this man is playing like Magic, but the proof is in the pudding. That young brother is out here 6'7", doing things at the point guard position that we haven't seen since the likes of a Irving Magic Johnson. I just want to make sure that we don't pass up on his greatness. He had his best game of his career to date against the Milwaukee Bucks, which some thought was going to win the Eastern Conference title, but we don't know. I don't know if they're going to win it, but they gave up 27 points. 9 assists, 5 rebounds, and 4 steals. LaMelo Ball, Magic-ish. Is it reasonable or excessive to acknowledge the greatness and call this man the Magic to be? I'll start with you, Sleeper Heat. No, I'm going to go with you, Big Flo, from the Big Flo Show. Where are we going?
I'm going to have to pay you a royalty on this, Maya, but I'm going to agree with you in the beginning. Come on now. I mean, this is all hype. He's just getting started. You come out there, you got a little hoop career, you're going out there. People don't know how you're going to play or whatever. Let them go through the season and figure out what his weaknesses are and how they're going to stop him and do whatever. Right now, it's still the shoot-around portion of the NBA. They're just getting loose, stretching their legs out. If he's still doing this towards the playoffs, okay, then we can start having a small conversation. But until then, it's just a shoot-around. Stop it.
All right. Come on now, superhero DJ John Quick. I know that you were a Magic Johnson fan, and when you look at LaMelo, come on now. What do you think? Is it reasonable or excessive to call this man a little miniature Magic? What do you think?
In Magic Johnson's rookie year, in the championship game, he had 42, 15, and 7. LaMelo will never do that. All right. LaMelo's honestly, he surprised me. He's a lot better than what I thought he would be in his first year. But Magic Johnson, he's not giving me Magic Johnson vibes. Like Magic Johnson put on those big boy pants immediately. LaMelo, he's playing for a very, I'm being kind of marginally talented Charlotte Hornets team. And again, like Flo said, anything before the All-Star game is just, this is, basically the preseason, so especially the fact that they didn't even have a preseason. So if he's doing this in late May, whatever, I'll give him more props. So right now, like he's having a nice little rookie season, but let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Maya, I see you over there, the executioner about to go in. I already know. Well, are you ready to say? Are you ready to say that I was right about LaMelo and he looking real magic?
But I don't like your daddy.
What say you, Maya?
First off, I need you to stop crowning these people that have not done things over a consistent amount of time. It's insulting to compare that Duck LaRonge offspring, okay, to Magic Johnson. If Magic heard this, he'd come over to your house and fight you. Period. Stop crowning these young athletes that have not endured or been through what Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, these other athletes have been through. You're playing in a confined space. You're in a bubble. The conditions are ideal for you to have great games. You're not dealing with what Magic Johnson had to go through. They didn't like him when they traveled. The Lakers used to go to Boston. Oh my God, do you know how many N-bombs they dropped on that man and how many buckets he dropped on them? So I need you to Team Sunshine. I know you love all that brightness. You Team Bright Sun. Look, I can't deal with the highlighters today.
All right, so look, I'm just gonna say Saquon Barkley agreed with me. He started saying he looking real Magic-like too. And Saquon Barkley doesn't have any credibility in the basketball world, but I figured I'd repeat it. Saquon Barkley agreed with me. In the case of my man, LaMelo, looking real Magic-ish, is it reasonable or excessive to acknowledge his Magic-like ways? It is very reasonable.
Oh.
What's the appeal?
What's the appeal? Situation here. Who do I find my appeal with
you know what it is when you have a self-interested judge. They're going to rule self-interestedly. So I rule self-interestedly that yes, this is reasonable. Yeah, I agree with you all that he doesn't have the body of work, but it's like he can't yet. He can only have the games that he's played. The games that he's played have been amazing. I'm agreeing with you, Saquon Barkley, or you agreeing with me? I said it first.
I'm about to go into my Jimmy Green. LaMelo is who we thought he was.
Just crown his ass. Just crown him.
Hey, look, man. Drake had his run. LaMelo is about to take over for all Team Light Skin. It's on you, LaMelo. Don't let them down. All right, y'all.
Toothbrush. Sorry.
He got diamonds. He got to get polished. Which you can't toothbrush no more, right?
I mean, and how can somebody that bright want to be brighter? But yet he has the diamonds. All right, my man, Tom Brady, TB12. It would not be a conversation about the big game. It's an episode called Big Game Theory. We cannot get through this episode without talking about TB12. Tom Brady, the GOAT, some might call him. Thou who shall be recognized as an amazing Super Bowl performer. That TB12, all right, is on record. Again, we got people snitching because Levante David, one of the linebackers, went on a podcast. He went on All Things Covered, the podcast that Patrick Peterson hosts, and my dog. Shout out to my man Bryant McFadden, who is the other co-host of All Things Covered podcast. While I'm shouting him out, y'all check him out. Me and Brian McFadden and I've known him since high school. Shout out to him. But on that podcast, Levante David told the story of when TB12 was in the locker room and one of his teammates took to crying, tears of joy as they won the NFC championship, the conference championship, and the reality sank in that they would be moving on to the Super Bowl. He started crying. TB12 said, "What the F you crying about? We ain't done yet." Is that reasonable or excessive that TB12 went out on a limb like that and told him, man, ain't no crying in football? Reasonable or excessive? I'm starting with you, Maya.
It's excessive. First of all, did we get on him about supporting that 45 maggot? We didn't get on him about that. So he needs to keep his opinion and his Spygate and Tuck rule and all that old other shit to himself because we don't care.
All right. Superhero DJ John, quick. Reasonable or excessive? It seems like he's just a winner. Stop all that crying. We ain't done yet.
Yeah, reasonable. He's just trying to get that culture right. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, don't be getting excited because we made it to the Super Bowl. We trying to win this chip. So it's reasonable. You know what I'm saying? I understand, you know, dude have been on a losing team all his career in terms of the NFL. So him crying, you know, tears of joy to get to the Super Bowl, which a lot of cats don't make it to, I get it. But I get TB12 saying like, dude, what you doing, man? We still got a job to do. So, yeah, I'm not mad at that.
Yeah, that'd be like you crying as soon as your invitee to the prom. As soon as she says yes, you start crying. Nah, dog, you got to cash in. You got to go to the prom, make that thing right. And then, all right, sorry, I digress.
That's totally reasonable. Let's go to it. That's why they brought him there. I mean, we've all been in a football game. There's 3-4 minutes left in the game, and we score to go up. Everyone starts cheering, going crazy, going nuts, and somebody has to stop and say, "We haven't won yet. We got to finish this game." So he's saying, "Look, man, I know you're excited, man, but I got this. We do championships now. All right, this is what we're going for. This is just part of the game." So that's GOAT talk to me.
I'm with both of you. I'm going with the fellas on this one. I'm going to say in the case of being tough and saying, what the F you crying about? That's very reasonable. They say, act like you've been there before, but this particular teammate obviously had not been there before. So TB12 helped him act like you've been there before, man. We got to go win this thing. TB12, you mentioned it, Miss Majestic Maya, the Maverick. Did he get a pass? Did he get a pass when it comes to his political connection to Mr. Donald Trump? We don't have to say president no more, or former president Donald Trump, because Shannon Sharp called him out, said if that was a black player and there was some questionable political connectivity, they would have been run through the doggone hot coals of political opinion, whereas TB12, we don't even talk about it. In fact, TB12 had an opportunity to answer a question, and what I dare say, he quick kicked it. He punted it away and didn't answer the question. Is Shannon Sharp on to something? Are we giving him a pass? I'll start with you, Flo, quickly. Yes or no, excessive or reasonable that it can be construed as he's getting a pass? Because we don't really talk about his Trump connection.
You know, I don't talk when it comes to politics, whatever. You're gonna make your vote, you can. It's the difference between like a quiet support or a vote and somebody who's just like a Trumper. I don't think he came to the level of Trumper, and maybe I'm misspeaking because I didn't hear all the research there. But like, you know, he punted. He didn't give a chance to come out there and start beating his chest and saying Trump, 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 like some of these other people have done and got in trouble for, like Urlacher or whatever the defensive end is that I can't remember his name for the 49ers.
Bosa.
You know, he didn't seem like he
Joey Bosa.
Yeah, Joey Bosa. He doesn't seem like he was a beat his chest Trumper. So every one man, one vote, he gets to go do it. I don't know. It's a tie to me.
It's funny that you say that because I saw someone post something about the Bosa brothers who both went to the illustrious St. Thomas Aquinas of the greater Fort Lauderdale, Florida area. And I felt some type of way as they posted these pictures. I'm happy that the Bosa brothers went to St. Thomas, but the stuff that they've said, the very interesting political views that they've taken, the views that the insurrectionists took as they threatened our democracy, I felt some type of way. And so I don't know. What do you think, Superhero DJ John Quick? Is Shannon Sharp right? Have we given TB12 a pass, whereas other players wouldn't get that same pass?
First of all, I'd like to say a big fuck you to the Bozo brothers that you're talking about, because I remember one in particular called Colin Kaepernick a clown. All right. So fuck both of them. And number two, yes, he's getting a crazy pass. Dude had a Make America Great Again hat in his locker. You know what I'm saying? And he's getting the pass. Ben Roethlisberger getting the pass. So I think Shannon Sharp is onto something 100%. So later for those dudes, man. Like real talk. Like don't be in a locker room with brothers and whatever, and then talking all this kumbaya stuff, and you supporting a straight up racist. Fuck them. I'm sorry. Yeah. Good morning.
Is that with a capital F or a little F? I'm not quite sure by the way you said it.
I just want to say on this episode, Big Game Theory. We've got to record this because this is the first time that someone beat Miss Majestic Maya to the punch and dropped the F-bomb before she did. And it was eloquently placed.
Oh, breakfast. Some
straight
of us haven't eaten breakfast yet.
Tell me how you really feel, superhero DJ John.
Nah, man, fuck both of those dudes, man.
I'm asking, he'll stop cussing.
I'm with you. Miss Majestic Maya, reasonable or excessive? Shannon Sharp's view that indeed TB12 is getting a pass. He seems to be the luckiest man in the world. And even when it comes to politics, because everything associated with Trump at this point, after the insurrection, has been deemed out of bounds. And people are running for cover when it comes to their support. But yet still, TB12, we're not even discussing it this week. You get the last word, Miss Majestic Maya.
First off, shout out to Shannon Sharp. He had cancer, so we just tell it like it is. How would someone feel if a black athlete was out there talking about Minister Louis Farrakhan? Oh my God, this guy is anti-Semitic. He hates Jews, and he needs to be reprimanded. Blah 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 blah. What the fuck ever? Call a spade a spade. This walking piece of orange trash has consistently expressed racist, hateful, stupid views. So if you vote for someone who consistently shows you that they're racist, stupid, fat, shout out to the fat people that aren't racist. That means
we're shouting out fat folks today.
I don't understand. No one wants to call him racist. No one wants to call him stupid. If I walk around and I see somebody walking down the street and they're flaming, I hate black people, I hate black people, I hate black people. And someone says, you know what? I agree with him. Yeah, oh my God, he's running for office. I'm going to vote for him. Then that makes you a racist asshat too. I don't understand. Of course, he's got the complexion for protection. He's a white male playing quarterback. He's married to a foot-face model. I get it. He is their poster child.
A foot-face model? What is a foot-face model?
Self-explanatory. Foot-face.
Have you not seen her face? Her face is the size. It's as long as a foot.
Well. So I'm gonna. So I'll say this. When it comes to Shannon Sharp, I'm gonna say that was very reasonable that he indeed gets a pass. But you allow me then to pivot to the last topic. And I'm going to sort of bring it together because Kaepernick, leading up to the big game, Colin Kaepernick has now been featured on a billboard right there in Tampa. He's been embraced. Ben & Jerry's has a campaign, and it says something to the effect of, I know my rights and change the world, spelled WHIRLED, a play on world ice cream. But there's this whole embracing of Kaepernick now, even in Super Bowl week or the big game week. I got to ask, is it reasonable or excessive to think that the commercial affiliation, the brands bringing him on, does it align and for you fit into the cause? And so, and I would go even further to say Roger Goodell now is all of a sudden he wants basically to have a shrine of Colin Kaepernick and saying all the right things. Is it pandering at this point? Is it reasonable or excessive, all of the fanfare that he's getting? And do you think that the brand connection, his being a spokesperson for brands, does it undermine the cause? Those are two big questions. I'll give everybody a quick 2 minutes. I'll start with you, Miss Majestic Maya, and come over to Big Flo, and then we got to get out of this segment because we're running long. Go ahead.
First off, I think it's disrespectful for the NFL to even mention this man's name. That punk ass Roger Goodell couldn't even apologize to him. He tamped ass around that man's name. I was like, damn, what is he saying, man, Sims? He did everything but apologize to that man. So fuck the NFL, Roger Goodell, you could go play in traffic. How about you take a long walk off a short pier? Secondly, I'm all for Colin Kaepernick getting all the exposure because you want to know why? He is actually doing the work for people
Yes,
who look
yes.
like him. I have no problem with it. I don't even like Ben and Jerry's ice cream, but I buy it because they do the work.
A superhero DJ John Quick, on to you.
Well, you know, it's a little personal for me, being that I actually know Colin and his girlfriend, you know, pretty well. And, you know, why do our leaders, why do our activists have to be broke? You know, he deserves every penny he can get because, number one, he literally had his career sacrificed. All right. And then for the NFL to even have the audacity to mention his name, put him in the new Madden and as a free agent, which is crazy. What else? Like just the fact that we're even broaching this subject, or whether it's questionable he should be, you know, receiving any type of endorsements is crazy to me, because he's the definition. You know, I'm superhero DJ John Quick, but to me, Colin Kaepernick is a true superhero. He's an Avenger. He's a defender. He's part of the Justice League. He's all those things for Black people. So yeah, I'm with anything Colin does. You know, I'm gonna be 100% behind. You know what I'm saying? Aside from the not voting piece, but you know that's something we already talked about. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, I'm with him.
Big Flo from the Big Flo Show. You bring the point home, and then I gotta get a ruling, and then we're gonna get out of this section.
When it comes to Roger Goodell and the NFL starting to acknowledge Kaepernick, I'm not going to give them like kudos for it, but I do think that you know people come around. Like when we're trying to make change, right? So they were wrong before, they made bad decisions before. It may not even be sincere now, but they're publicly speaking on the behalf of Kaepernick and saying that things wrong. Could they go further? Absolutely, but at the same time, we're looking for change. We're starting to get some change. It's starting to become acceptable. I think that the products going behind him, Nike being behind him now, Ben and Jerry's being behind him. I like it because Colin isn't even really speaking. You're not hearing anything, but he's speaking, right? He's becoming more mainstream, and people are, I think, you know, the corporate sponsors are voting with their voices and saying, hey, we stand behind you. We stand behind your people. We stand behind your cause. So I love seeing the billboard. I love making it so it doesn't go away and it's always out there. But we have to allow people to start to change and make changes. We don't fall in love with them. We can't say we're in love with them, but they're making changes and they're saying things that we wanted them to say the first time. At some point, they got to do it. Otherwise, they're going to stay on the other side, and then that's worse. So
last word. Go ahead, superhero DJ John, quick.
Real quick. And I encourage everyone on this who's listening to this podcast to go visit we know our rights camp.com. That's his cause. And like Maya said, he's putting in the work. He's putting his money where his mouth is. So trust me, like we got a winner in this dude. And it's just a shame that these NFL owners just can't get over their little soft ass egos and give this man at least a real trial and not some bullshit trial on a Saturday where nobody who can make decisions can attend the tryout. Thank you.
I was all ready to vote very different ways or to rule very different ways. Maybe it's recency bias, but I think you helped me see it a different way, Big Flo, because I thought, I'm gonna be honest with you, when I heard about all the brand connection and being here, being there, I just thought it undermined the initial cause and it distracted from what the message was, the initial message of Black men being overly susceptible to brutality at the hand of police men, police women, police folk, police departments. And I thought it took away from it. But you guys got a point. At the end of the day, the bigger the platform, the bigger the message. I think that being woke has become a part of the big game and it's acceptable now. So, and a lot of that has to do with Colin Kaepernick. In terms of the Roger Goodell now having a love affair and saying that he deserves the recognition, I'm a little more open to hearing that as well, along with Big Flo, not because I think it's sincere, but because in him saying it, we have at least made some progress in a world that I've seen on the corporate side, a large white male population see and understand the injustices that is inflicted upon people of color and women forever. They still don't acknowledge that there needs to be some change. And so I think Roger Goodell is, maybe it's pandering, maybe it's self-interested, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt on this one. So I'll say it's reasonable in this case. All right, y'all. This was a great segment. We're going to come back. in a little bit. You know what it is. This is the traffic court where you've got the judge, myself, B Brown, ESQ. You got the jury. You got Big Flo from the Big Flo Show, and you have the maestro, superhero DJ John Quick, and the executioner, who is never afraid to execute. She's the maverick, Miss Majestic Maya. That is the segment. Let's hop into center court for our halftime, and then we'll be back. Great job, guys. All right, y'all. Center court. You know what it is. Halftime is, our halftime report is brought to you by Excessive Celebration. We're much more than a party. We are an event on top of an experience on top of your event. All right. So now we've got center court. And center court, like we do it every week, is basically taking the show, the title of the show, the episode, and explaining why we made that decision. Today's episode, as we've talked about a few times, is called Big Game Theory. All right. And so stick with me here as we do center court today. Big Game Theory in the center court. Look, if you had one shot or one opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted in one moment, would you capture it or let it slip? Now, of course, those are the famous words from Eminem's song, Lose Yourself, a song that I always listen to before a big moment in my life. I listened to it before I took the LSAT for law school. I listened to it before I took the GMAT, which is the entrance exam for business school. And I still listen to it every time I have a big meeting or a big moment. Every year around this time, we get to watch a certain football game where all the players have their one big moment. And every year around this time, I watch commercials during that same game where brands that spend millions and millions of dollars to make those commercials. Every year, it amazes me that those same brands only refer to the game as the big game. As it turns out, the brands cannot say the Super Bowl unless they pay for that privilege, because the NFL registered that trademark back in 1969. When it comes to the big game, the NFL has used its big bank to take little bank, which prevents event curators like myself from using the phrase Super Bowl. If you throw an event, you got to call it the big game party or the big game watch. However, I love the phrase big game because back in my day, we always said big time players make big time plays in big time games. Then there's the other half of today's title, which is game theory. A term that we learned in business school, but I'll explain it here. Investopedia defines game theory as a theoretical framework for conceiving social situations among competing players. In some respects, game theory is a science of strategy, or at least the optimal decision-making of independent and competing actors in a strategic setting. While there will be a ton of strategy on Sunday as Bruce Arians and Andy Reid face off, and then Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes goes toe-to-toe under the big lights in the big game, it's the perfect opportunity to think about those big moments and those unique opportunities that each of us have in our own lives. For example, this week's news that Stacey Abrams, a woman who we've highlighted here in Center Court previously, to hear that she's been nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize is a great example of someone who never let the big bad establishment dampen her outlook and undermine her accomplishments. She redefined her objectives and increased the stakes to win an even bigger game for the greater good. And by doing so, she benefited personally as well. So what does that mean for you and me? We all have a big game moment that might not go as planned. Dare I say, we become like the character Rabbit. You know, when we snap back to reality, oh, there goes gravity. Oh, there goes Rabbit. He choked. He's so mad. but he won't give up that easy. As you can tell, I love the game. But this big game theory is my challenge to you and to myself to be like Rabbit, the character. Be like Abrams, not Adams, Stacey Abrams, the politician. Be like Tom Brady and bounce back by being strategic and never accepting failure as an option. Whether it's getting yourself out of debt, bouncing back from a job loss, recovering from incarceration and bad decisions, picking yourself up and resuming your dreams after losing a loved ones, or any other notable achievement, by overcoming the odds and winning, you are setting the example for those following in your footsteps. The big game is yours to win, as long as your theory and strategy is about something bigger than yourself. And that's a word from the center court. All right, y'all, we're going to get into the third quarter, which is going to be strictly business. I'm going to bring back Big Flo from the Big Flo Show, and we're going to get into some quick business. Strictly business is the name of the segment, and we're going to rock out real quick. Big Flo, got you back for strictly business. You know what it is.
Still good? Y'all still good? Okay.
America's still good, baby. So I know that we are pressing on time. So when you got to get out, just tap out. I know you got to go. I
like this
around and started late. Just tap out. All right. But we're going to get through strictly business first, and then I'll let you go for the day. I'll bring it home by myself on fourth quarter. So strictly business is this. Yep. Tom Brady. His merchandise sets a whole new 2-week record for the 2 weeks leading up to Super Bowl 55. Tom Brady is the gift that keeps giving in terms of merchandise. What do you think about the fact that this man at 43 years old in his 10th Super Bowl can still set records even off the field, and people are buying his jerseys up like nobody's business? He is the definition of commerce and very good for people's pockets. What do you say?
I mean, it's to be expected at this point, right? He goes to Tampa Bay, first year there. You know, I think Mahomes still may have beat him, though, if I'm not mistaken. Mahomes still had a better thing, but people already have a Mahomes jersey from last year. You don't have to buy a new jersey every year. This is the first time you could ever buy a Tom Brady jersey. So you take a quarterback that's leading a team to a Super Bowl for the first time, and since however long it's been, they're going to sell a lot of jerseys. It's the first year on the team. So they're not going to wear a Patriot jersey to the game or any out to the party or whatever they're going to do. They got to wear the new Tampa. So I think it's a little inflated, but again, he's 43 years old. So I can't believe that he's, your age and he's out here still letting people touch him and tackle him and stuff like that. I can't imagine that. So I'm going to give him props for that. But I think a little bit, it's kind of like of course, he's setting records for jerseys because no one has a jersey for Tom Brady.
When it comes to the big game of commerce, man, that guy, TB12, is just good for business. And that felt personal that you said he's my age and pause. But I
couldn't say my age because that would be a lie because I'm a little older. So I had to, find the next guy in the room.
We'll see what happens. A lot of those jerseys, because I agree with you. I think people are crazy when they just wear like a Patriots jersey to a game where Tom Brady happens to be playing because he no longer plays for the Patriots, but people do it. So you've got a point there. The fact that he is new to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers organization probably influenced the uptick in those jersey sales. But those last 2 weeks broke records over a 2-week span. So TB12 still doing it, man.
Nobody think they were going to make it to the Super Bowl. And when they did, oh, man, hold on. Let's get my little jersey for the party.
Everybody likes a winner. Ticket scalpers are on the other side of that. Business is bad for them. The NFL is doing a good job of trying to regulate their own market. Instead of just releasing tickets that then get sold on the secondhand market, they're doing most of it themselves. It went from about 80% of the tickets being sold on the secondary market back in 2017 to this year, less than 20% of the available tickets have been sold on the secondary market. Is this the end of an era for ticket scalpers? And did Big Bank again dominate Little Bank when it comes to the big game of ticket sales to the Super Bowl?
I look at it a couple ways. First of all, I don't really knock anyone's hustle, but the ticket scalping business in general, is bad. A lot of people can't go to games now because the scalpers get their hold on the tickets and the average citizen can't. I mean, it's already $250, $400 for a ticket anyway. And now the scalpers making it $4,000. So I think that's a little unfair. But I do think, it's COVID. We're in a pandemic, right? The TV experience is getting much, much better, right? So now people want to have Super Bowl parties and they want to watch the commercials and do whatever. The event is so great, or the big game party, I guess you want to call it. the game experience is so great on TV. Not as many people want to go. And with COVID and all the different stuff like that, they're not really doing it. So I can't be mad at the NFL for trying to take some of that money that's on the secondary market. Our alma mater, Notre Dame, was getting mad when people were scalping tickets years ago, and they started doing personal seat licenses. So they're like, all right, if you guys are willing to pay $300 a ticket, give me $3,000 and I'll let you buy season tickets. Before they didn't do that. So I can't be mad at people for trying to make more money off their product. So,
all right. So I to that same end, the financial losses in the sports world more broadly, we think about the ticket scalpers, other people are facing losses because of events, because of concessions and all the other things related to the sport, the respective sports. There are two examples of this that come to mind that I think stand out. One is the University of Texas, because it shows just how much money a program like that makes. And I'm going to look to my notes just because I have these numbers. They were earth-shattering numbers that I did not believe upon first read. But they've lost revenue and they're down 23 million and
still up.
and still made 201 million in revenue.
Mm-hmm.
Profits,
22
million in profits. The football program made 147 million in gross revenue alone, and Texas wasn't that good this year. So there's that part of it. When you think of, as a parent, a son that's being recruited, just think about how much money goes into a sport like football on a college campus like Texas, one of the big programs. And then the second part of that is the NFL, because their revenue also dipped in a pandemic, but wasn't crippling at all. And they are down at least 100 million per team. So altogether, the aggregate are down about 3 billion to 4 billion from an aggregate level in the entire league, yet that didn't cripple them. And so that's my only challenge. And I didn't mention this in the previous segment about Colin Kaepernick. I thought Colin Kaepernick had the NFL on the ropes, and finally we were going to have their books exposed. And so these type of numbers, to know that they're down 100 million, at least 100 million per organization, and they still are living great. And to think, the University of Texas and their football program still makes 147 million in gross revenue in 1 year, despite COVID, just shows how big the numbers are. And, I think we, as people who participated on all levels, we lose sight of just how big the business is beyond just the plays that we make or the recruiting class that we were in. What do you think?
So I read that article and I looked at the numbers, and I think it was all sports, right? It was 200 million was all sports.
200 million all sports, yes.
For all sports. And I think I saw the number was only like
27 was football.
Okay. But we lost the tournament. Well, I don't know if they were tournament. Anyway, but I believe that they only had 21 million was for scholarships out of that 200 million. The rest of the stuff was going towards like coaches' salaries and all kinds of different things like that. And so that article was told them a lot when they started talking about we can't afford to pay the athletes and we can't do this or whatever. I don't know how many athletes they have, but they got 21 million on scholarships, $22 million in profits. So everybody's paid, everyone's making their money, everyone's doing their thing, and you still have profits in a down year. So, I don't know if there's going to be some increased costs that are associated to getting back up to the revenue, whatever. But let's assume that at least half of that money would come back and they'd have 30 million in profit. Now, Texas is a huge program. Not everybody is at Texas, but at the same time, it really sheds a lot of light on how much money is being made and how much money is left over for the organization. So I don't know. I mean, it says a lot.
As a former player, doesn't it make you feel as though we got hoodwinked, bamboozled?
Run amok.
We didn't land on Planet Rock. Planet Rock landed on us because that level of money. And look, Texas has a brand significant enough to have its own network. They were one of the first to do it, if not the first to do it. But in that same vein, that same spirit, I got to at least mention my guy Messi. You know who he is, the soccer player who makes all type of money, Lionel Messi. This is the second time we talked about soccer on the Ball Hog Sports Talk today. We expanded, y'all. We expanded. This young man, we don't know who, snitched. They released the details of his contract, and it's 550 million euros, which is more than dollars, over 4 years. He had 115 billion euro signing bonus.
He's bad too.
And this is where he gangster Al Capone Scarface with it. He is now suing whoever snitched
for extra. He needs more than that.
He needs more because he didn't reach all the incentives, so he ain't gonna make all. So I'm gonna sue you on top of it. Last story in this segment: Adrian Broner. I think it's a cautionary tale. He was on Instagram divulging the fact that he had $13 in his account, asking people to give to his Cash App, and basically begging Money Mayweather, pun intended, begging Money Mayweather to have to fight him in not a real fight, but some exhibition fight. He thought he could make 30 to 50 million just because it's Money Mayweather. Now, this is the same guy that used to use the imaginary phone, which was bricks of cash. Used to just throw away money. Used to do ignorant things. It's a cautionary tale that I hope people learn from. AB, all the Benjamins and all the other names he gave himself could be AB absolutely broke. What do you think about it?
First, I'm going to start at Messi, right? And I say, look, you're putting a man's business on the street, and in the United States, it's everybody's business. But my dad used to say this, and I got to quote my pops. If I could win $100 million in lottery, I'd tell him to keep $20 million if you just keep my name out your mouth. Don't put my name out there in the street. Let people know I got all that money. So Messi might have some family members that's lining up out the door. You got all kind of people bothering him now. He got 500.
Don't be telling nobody how much I make.
Don't tell how much I make. They're sweating me now. So I'm suing y'all for all the people. This is going to go to the family that keeps calling me what's going on there. So, yeah, Keep my business out the street if it's against the law. I'm not mad at him for suing for that because that is an embarrassing amount of money to be making. But Bonner was always terrible to me. He never was a good boxer. He was all lip, nothing,
Great
whatever.
Marketer, though. Great marketer.
Great marketer, I guess. I don't know. I'm just not a fan. He gets out there. He never does well. Now he's broke, and he wants Mayweather to give him a fight and do it. And the thing that I guess it just makes us all monkeys if we actually pay for the fight. Like, if he gives him the fight, I hope nobody buys it. I just feel like I need the money. I'm just going to come out here and just do something. I don't like it. I don't like
the fact that he wanted to qualify as an exhibition makes me think that he thinks Money Mayweather would not put a title on the line. It's got to be a very low risk of losing anything in order for him to step in the ring with him. I hate to see brothers lose money like that. Today's episode is entitled Big Game Theory. And the big game, whether you like it or not, is wealth accumulation. You can be rich and still be broke. Be poor in terms of your outlook, your mentality, in terms of your appreciation of how that money can help others and help the community and provide resources to people beyond just your boxing career. And unfortunately, AB, while I loved him as a marketer and a trash talker, I hate to see that he got $13 in his bank account. I ain't got much more than that, but when it comes to the case of big bank take little bank, I could do it. I got more than $13. We're going to transition quickly to the fourth quarter. We got about 5 minutes, and we're going to be out of here. I know I'm going along because we started late, but we got to get the people what they want. Ball Hawk Sports Talk.
What they want.
Like we ask you guys every week, humbly, please like, please comment, please share. Please tag a friend. Please tag a foe. Tag anybody that you know. It's the Ball Hawk Sports Talk, where sports, business, and entertainment collide. With your boy, B. Brown, ESQ, a.k.a. the Ball Hawk, a.k.a. the Mouth of South, a.k.a. Mr. Successful Celebration. Here with the La Familia, Big Flo from the Big Flo Show, who you guys will be seeing a lot of. We about to bring it home in the fourth quarter with the sports freestyle. This is how we going to rock. First one, Martellus Bennett, who has been quite an outspoken player, not only during his career, but now post-career. He had a lot to say on Twitter. And essentially he said that the people you think that you know, you really don't know. We're wired a certain way. We're wired to be aggressive, violent humans. And you might not appreciate just how dark our dark side is. The people that you are fans of, a lot of them are horrible human beings. He talked about the transition and the mental challenges of transitioning into a world where you're not the creme de la creme. You're not the best thing since sliced bread. So what do you think about Martellus Bennett spilling the beans and sharing some good info?
It's interesting because we've had those conversations, guys like myself and yourself, when we talk about it, we talk about different teams. And so, each championship, and if you read some coaches' books that have been written out there, you'll see little glimpses of it. You need those people on the team, unfortunately, that you don't know if they're going to make it through the whole season. You need those guys that are a little bit on the wild side. So when you see people doing crazy things that we think is crazy, and then as society, we step back and say, man, they have all this opportunity and all this money, and how can they act like that? So you don't realize the fact that they act like that is the reason why they're good like that, because it's crazy to run into somebody full speed and hit them as hard as you can, knowing you could bust your neck and break your head any play. That normal people don't do that. When you walk in society, you walk down the sidewalk, people avoid contact, right? We run into contact. So that you have to have a little bit of a screw loose. So it's amazing that we can be as great as we are and flip the switch as much as we can. But, I think there's something good about putting it out there and people can realize it. Mental health, like people are talking about, is becoming more acceptable and understandable. But there's a lot of crazy stuff that goes on that you're triggered to do. We train these kids. When I used to coach the kids, I said, now is the time not to be like what your parents told you, right? They tell you don't hit anybody, be polite, be nice. Now is the time to put out your frustration. The kid that took your toy in school, the extra cookie or ice cream that your mom won't let you have. Now is the time to go out there and let it all out. But I'm now that I look back at it, yeah, I'm somewhat creating the monster. But I wanted to let these kids know this is your release, and then you got to shut it off. But that switch sometimes will break on you. So I'm not mad at him for putting that out there. I think it's time people should know and understand what they go through.
I love that he put it out there. And let me just say, let me qualify, because there's levels to this crazy. As we talked about the fact that we were never teammates, and you said immediately your immediate response was, "I'd have loved to knock you out." There is levels to this craziness. As an offensive player, I didn't think about that. I thought about touchdowns and touchdown dances, aka excessive celebrations. But you, on the other hand, thought about decapitating people. There is levels to this, but on all levels, I love that Martellus Bennett put it in layman's term where people can understand it. So Kansas City offensive lineman Laurent Duvernay-Tardif. He is a Canadian and possibly French. Is that French? Not the
French Canadian, probably from Quebec, Montreal.
But he is, I think, a model example of how to deal with the bubble. Not only did he opt out, this was a starter in last year's Super Bowl championship. He opted out. He also has an MD. He's the one who won an MD on the back of his jersey. He graduated from med school. He decided to be on the front lines and help people dealing with COVID. What do you think about this great story? It's one of the storylines you probably won't hear about, but one that's worth talking about, especially in the era that all these athletes have talked about, the overwhelming grief that COVID has presented to them and the mental strain that it has provided to them, a burden on their back. Here's a guy who opted out of the season and was on the front lines. What do you think?
First of all, shout out to anybody who has a medical degree of any kind and still got a chance to play football. So he did med school and did this. So shout out to him for that. I think the irony there has to be celebrated. The fact that most people opted out because of self-preservation or preservation of a loved one or family member or whatever their personal reasons are for themselves. He opted out and put himself in harm's way. I got to respect that. I got to say, hey, listen, I probably wouldn't have done it, but I think for you to feel that kind of a calling that you think you could be of a greater help, and it's greater than football. It's bigger than football. I want to go out here on the front lines and start helping people. If you don't respect that, what do you respect?
He is, I think, another example of that center court piece that I did, the big game theory, the fact that he has taken this opportunity. He's lost himself in the moment, but the moment for him, that victory, that success was strategically done for anybody but himself. It was for the greater good. So shout out to that brother. We need more examples in the football world like that. All right, I cannot let you leave without at least asking who you got. And I'm gonna, before I tee this up, because I gotta know who you're predicting to win. Before I tee this up, I gotta say to our audience, whether you're listening to us in the podcast universe, whether you are watching us in the live feed, I want you guys please to like, comment, and share. There's a live feed audience. Please subscribe in the podcast audience. But I want, from a comment standpoint, I need to know who y'all got. There are two teams. The Kansas City Chiefs and Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes and Eric Bieniemy as the offensive coordinator, and a great defensive backfield that the first time that they played, they got the best of the receivers, Tampa Bay receivers. I need to know, audience, ball hog, sports talk supporters, loyalists, our listeners, our watchers, don't try to tell us next week that you knew Tampa, or you knew Kansas City was going to win. We want it on record. Who do you have? Is it Kansas City or is it Tampa Bay? Are you going Patrick Mahomes and that young team? Are you going TB12, the seasoned vet that figures it out? Put it on record right now. I'm gonna review every single one of these predictions, and then I tee it up for you. Big Flo from the Big Flo Show. Drum roll, please. It's the big game theory, and so the big game itself. What is your theory? Who wins and why?
Being a man of many birthdays as I am, looking at a man like Tom Brady, who's had many birthdays as well, there's got to be some sort of a soft spot for him, right? He's coming out here. He's 43 years old. He's representing the Geritol and Bengay community very well.
Don't forget icy hot,
all that kind of stuff. Then I look at Jason Pierre-Paul. He came out and lost some fingers, broken neck. He's coming out here. He's making a big stance, having a great year, Pro Bowl year, going to Super Bowl. Love that line of perseverance. But all that being said, I'm going Kansas City because I like my man, my homeboy, Mahomes. I like Andy Reid. Again, shout out to the fat guys. You know I got a soft spot for the fat guys.
Offense coordinator is fat too. Eric Bieniemy is fat.
Eric Bieniemy is fat too, and he didn't used to be. He was whatever. He's a reformed skinny guy and became a fat dude. So you got to respect the fact that he came over to our side, because he was a dude with the top pick back in school. You know what I mean? We digress. But I got to go with my Chiefs. I don't know. I just got to go with my Chiefs. All that's it.
You going with the Chiefs. All right, y'all. Here it is on the Ball Hog Sports Talk. Please like, please comment, please share. I can't avoid it. I'm not going to punt on this. I'm not going to quick kick like Tom Brady did on the question related to Donald Trump. I'm going to answer this. My prediction for the big game, number 55, Super Bowl 55. If they come get us, great. That means they listening. That means we got the audience. Come get me if you want, NFL. I'm going to call it the Super Bowl. My Super Bowl prediction. The big game, if you will. My theory is that the Rooney Rule and the lack of execution on it, there's going to be karma. And the team with all black coordinators, the team that also happens to have TB12, my same class in college, 43 years old, same age, that team with a black offensive coordinator, with a black defensive coordinator. The offense coordinator is Byron Leftwich. The defensive coordinator is Raheem Morris. And they even have a black special teams coordinator, which I'm proud to say I don't know his name, but he's black.
Oh, isn't that Armstrong?
Did they get Armstrong?
I think it's Armstrong. He was Notre Dame special team coach when I was there.
Okay. And he's like the one black special teams guy. I should have known that.
Yeah,
I will say this. I'm going with Tampa Bay. TB12. It's going to be a close game. And if Kansas City figures out a way to debunk that theory and they win, I'll be happy either way because Eric Bieniemy, I think is long overdue for a head coaching role.
Doesn't he share your
He is. He's a Q. He's a fraternal letters. Yeah, absolutely.
Disrespect y'all, to just refer to it. The big game, the big symbol. That's how it's called.
The big symbol and the big.
So y'all don't come looking for me. I know how y'all get.
Yeah, man. But I'm going with Tampa Bay. You're going with Kansas City, and that's why Big Flo from the Big Flo Show and B Brown ESQ, aka the Ball Hawk, aka the Mouth South, aka Mr. Success Celebration, from the Ball Hawk Sports Talk. That's why we vibe, baby, because we don't always agree, so we argue. Debate. This has been real. Thank you for the sports freestyle. Sorry we went over a little bit. I'm gonna close out. Have a good weekend, my brother.
All right, we out.
All right, everybody. It's been the Big Game Theory episode. As we talked about it, the big game. We all have the big game. We all have that moment, that opportunity in life. Make sure you seize it. Game theory and how to be strategic in seizing it requires us as a people to think beyond just ourselves. And think of the broader good that you can create, the greater good that you can create. And remember, and my mom used to say this to me all the time, even when I was about 9 years old. You never know who's watching, and you are a role model. You are a role model to someone. So from a Big Game Theory episode, this has been the Ball Hog Sports Talk. We appreciate you following. We appreciate you watching. We ask you, like we ask every week, please like, please comment, please share, please subscribe on whatever is your favorite podcast platform. It's the Ball Hog Sports Talk, y'all. We working where sports, business, and entertainment collide. We out. Peace.